Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to the first session of the 4 that you've been informed about. And today we'll be looking at the research plan and the aspects that make a great research plan, presented by my colleague Nalini Duki, who's the Provincial Coordinator for Eskom Expo for Young Scientists in KwaZulu-Natal. I am your host today, Nico Swartz, and I'm the Provincial Coordinator here in Free State. Just a couple of rules before we get started. We prefer that you stay on mute and use the raise hand function if you have a question anytime during the presentation. So if at that moment you hear something that you need clarity on, you are welcome to just raise your hand and I will interrupt the presenter to make sure that you get an opportunity to ask your question. I think staying muted is obvious in the fact that it becomes disruptive if we can hear your background noise. Myself as the host, I have a whole lot of dogs here at the back, so I also stay muted in the event they should start barking. So let's please just afford all the attendees the opportunity to hear everything very clearly. Without further ado, I'd like for us to get started, and then I'll hand over to your presenter, Nalini. Thank you.
Hi, everyone. I'm Nalini. Nico will just give me the go-ahead when we should start.
You are welcome to start, Nalini. Thank you.
Okay. Just share my screen. So I've already been introduced by Nico. I am Nalini Duki, the Provincial Coordinator for the Eskom Expo in KZN. This is our contact details. If you need to get hold of either of us, feel free to do so. Okay, and as much as, Nico's already mentioned that if you have any question, you should stay muted, but if while we're presenting, if you have any questions or any contribution to make, please do unmute yourself or put your response in the chat. Okay, we'd like to have an interactive session. Okay, so aspects that we will cover, I'm doing today, the day one of the research plan, and Nico will be doing day two. He's going to focus on the engineering type of project. And day three, it will be back to me. I will be presenting on the social science projects. And then day four, we're looking at the scientific type of project. And hopefully a colleague of mine from UKZN will also be available to present that one. So that's our session for this week. Today, basically, we just want to focus on the research plan overall, so that as we get into each day, each session with the different types of projects, then it will make a lot more sense to you. Just for, if I'm not sure if there's any new participants attending an Expo workshop for the first time, if you can just put that in the chat, that would help us to know whether there's anyone new, or just raise your hand if this is the first time you're attending an Eskom Expo workshop. That would also help us to, have an idea of how to focus the workshop. Just a reminder, we're a non-profit organization. We're sponsored by Eskom and we're endorsed by Department of Education. 35 Expo regions in South Africa. Okay, so I see we've got some participants that are new to Expo, right? So please do ask questions if there's anything that's not clear. 35 regions throughout South Africa within the 9 provinces, right? And the expos are run the same in each province. The content, how you do the project is exactly the same. Only difference is the date at which we have our events. Our vision, of course, is inspiring young scientists and researchers. Do we have learners? Let's see if we have learners on the chat. Maybe learners, you can raise your hands now. Let's see. Okay, so the expo is aimed at learners, and teachers are the mentors. Okay, our mission, this is very important because it outlines the process of doing an expo project. All of it is actually outlined in our mission to develop young scientists who are able to, step 1, identify a problem. Step 2, analyze information. And here we're talking about information related to the problem, information related to the solution. Then you find a solution. Select a solution that you think would be the best one for the problem you've identified. Conduct your research and then communicate findings effectively. Right? So that's basically the Expo project in a nutshell. This is just one of our expos last year. This is what it looks like for those of you that are new to Expo and haven't seen what it's all about. This is the Expo. Learners put up their projects on the project board. All right. Who can participate? Very quickly, grade 4 to 12 at regional level. So what you're looking at here, this is our regional Expo. If you have smaller learners, I think Free State also has got grade 3s that are participating. Am I right, Nicole? You've got some foundation phase learners.
Yes, we do.
State.
Yes, we do. The
Okay,
Welcome region actually has grade 1, grade 2, 3 as well. Yes, you are correct.
Oh, that's fantastic. Absolutely brilliant. And I'll tell you the reason we start learners so early is the more they practice, the more they get involved in doing research, this type of project work, the better they become, not only at Expo, but ultimately, even in their schoolwork. At the National Expo, we can take learners from grade 6 up to grade 12. And then internationally, to represent South Africa, it's learners from grade 8 to 12. You find also TVET students from NC2 to NC4 can also participate. Just a reminder, learners can participate as individuals or 2 learners per project, right? So that's pairs or groups of 2 and individuals. Okay, so the requirements for participation or for judging, I should say. First is a research plan, which we're going to be talking about today. It's the start of the project. And then once the research plan has been approved, the learner does the project and then prepares the report. Following the report, 1-page abstract, the poster, you saw the whiteboards on the photo of the expo. We will provide you with those whiteboards. The branded expo boards, learners will do their poster on an A4 page and they will paste it onto the expo branded board. And then all the written files, all of these files that we discussed, all the written work must be on the table, including the journal and the data file. If it's an engineering project, we want to see the final working prototype. Right? Or even if it's a scientific investigation, you want to put up a display of the experiment that was done, that can also be done, but be mindful to check the project approval document, right? Or what is allowed and what is not allowed on display. And then of course, the last thing is the interview with judges, right? So that's all the requirements that takes place during the judging process. This is just some of the headings that I've just put out here for the research plan. And you'll see that the headings are very similar to the report. The only difference is the research plan can only go up to a certain point because it's the plan. And then the report, it's done in the past tense. The completed project is recorded, right? So the headings are basically the same. The information will be very similar from the research plan and the report. The abstract is a one-page summary, about 250 words, also written in the third person. Basically 4 paragraphs summarizing the entire project. So the teacher, or sorry, the judge, I should rather say, the judge usually looks at the abstract before reading the report. Now, this journal is also very, very important, the journal and the project data file. So the journal, it's a dated diary, it's a book, it can be a computerized document. We want to see the date when the work was done and what work was done on the day. It can be untidy, doesn't matter. All the drawings, all the results that were recorded, everything goes into this journal. So it should be the complete record of the work from start to finish, right? That's the journal. The data file is another book, another file, if you like, where you could put in all the information that you could not put into your report. So all the photos, the additional photos, interviews, actual questionnaires that were handed out for social science study can go into the data file. Because as a judge, you can ask the learners to see the actual questionnaires that people filled out. Just to show you, when you go to our website where you can find this information, right, under resources. So for get involved and register, that is where you will register. But if you click under resources and templates, that is where you will find the templates. And these are the templates that I'm talking about, right? Okay, these are the templates for the research plan, the project report, the abstract, and all of these templates can be downloaded in Word format. Guidebooks. This is a very important document for the learners and the teacher. It tells you everything that you need to know on how to do an Expo project, start to finish, right? Let me just go back here and see if I can access from my, I'll see if I can access. It doesn't look like I can access.
Sorry, Nalini, can you just hold on? Someone is saying hello in the background. I think there are people who are not connected to audio.
Okay. Okay. Oh, I think it's me. I am. Oh my gosh. Sorry. Someone's asking me for the password. Oh dear. That's me trying to answer my phone while presenting. And I right now don't. Okay. So basically, this is what I was talking about. Go to templates, right? And I'm trying to find the templates here to show you.
Nalini, at the moment, you're not showing your live internet browser. We're still looking at your PowerPoint.
I don't know. Let me just go back and see what's happening. Let me just go back to share. I should have an internet. I should have. Okay, let me just share my actual screen. Can you see my screen now?
Yes, now we do see the screen. Just before you start showing that, there are 2 participants that are not connected to audio. And they seem to be blowing up the chats because they can't hear anything. But I'll try and in the background, try and assist them. So please go ahead.
Okay. So I just wanted to show you here, although I'm going to work through the template. I'm not going to work on the internet, but just to show you. Okay, if you download the research plan from here in Word format, so that just let me know if you are seeing the template.
Yes, Nalini, I do see it.
Okay, let's enable editing. Okay. So because it's in Word format, you can delete all of that information. And once you finalize which type of project, I'm going to come to these 4 types of projects. You'll see there's a template for each type of project, right? And this is what we're going to work through in the next 4 days, or next 3 days, actually, right? So if you take the first heading, I'm just going to use this one as an example. So here under literature review, all of these questions that are here to be answered, as you answer the question, mention your background reading here, learner just deletes, you just delete everything, and then the learner just types in their own information, whatever the case is, right? So this is how simple it is to use this template. Just delete, and the learner puts their own info, right? So back to the presentation. Now I'm going way. I need to go back down to where I was. I was here somewhere. Okay. So that was the resources. Okay, all the resources, guidebooks, everything is there. There's templates for teachers and for learners. Okay, so once you've got your project idea, right? And teachers, this is also important for you as well, because you have to sign the research plan. Ensure that the idea is smart. What do I mean by smart? S is for specific. Be very focused about the problem. M is measurable. There must be something that the learner is measuring. What quantities? What are they actually measuring? What instruments are they measuring? What will they measure? How will they measure? So that helps us to decide on what is measurable in that project. Is it attainable and realistic? Is the project something that is within the solution, I should say? Is the solution that the learner is going to be testing, is it something that a learner, whether it's grade 7 or grade 4 for that matter, able to do? So even if the learner gets assistance from an adult, is the learner actually able to understand the content, right? So this is where attainable and realistic comes in. And T is for time frames, within time frames. So I know all regional expos are taking place in late July, August. So whatever your project topic is, will you be finished? Will the learner be finished with that project by the time, let's say a week before the regional expo date? That is very important with the time frames. Okay, so I just want to do a short activity about brainstorming, you know, before we can get to the research plan. And if you have an idea already, you're most welcome to unmute. I'll just put some project ideas down. So this is an activity you're doing with your learners, you're introducing them to the expo, right? Whatever the idea is. Use this brainstorming technique to help them to narrow down, to become more specific about the project, right? So I just put example, bullying, water. I know there's lots of issues around water, pollution, can be any type of pollution. I just put littering as an example, or whatever other problems. I don't know if there's anyone who wants to give an example of a problem they might already have. Or can I just go ahead and use one of my examples? Anyone want to give us the problem that they identified? Okay, there's a hand up. Do you want to share your problem with us? Please unmute and you can share. Go ahead.
Yeah. CBR, please go ahead.
Is he unmuted, Nicole? Because I can't.
Yeah, he is unmuted, but there's no sound coming from his side. Sorry, I'm assuming that it's a he.
Okay, I will continue with mine. Can you just send a message to the participant and just, or maybe the participant can
Right.
type the problem in the chat.
Please type your problem in the chat, Sibia.
Because we
You
can't
seem
hear
to
you.
not be connecting to audio. But please go ahead, Nalini.
Okay. So taking this idea of the project, taking this SMART idea, right? So let's say if it was water, for example, the scarcity of water. We've been presenting workshops and we hearing of issues where in some communities, not only learners, but schools in general, or people within that community are just getting water for 2 days in the week. And the rest of the week, there's no water. So if this is your problem that you want to solve, right? Try and ask these questions. Why is it a problem? For whom is it a problem? Where is it a problem? So in order to look at the where, when you're thinking of your solution, if you're thinking of the where is it a problem? Is it a problem for water at school? Then the solution might be different from a solution, for example, of solving the problem for the shortage of water in the community or in your home, right? And that sort of thing. The effect, what effect is it having on people, right? And also when you're thinking of the solution, remember I said the solution must be attainable and realistic. So let's say you're thinking the where is the school, because it's impacting, learners are not able to come to school, you have to close school early, so that is your concern there. And so now possible solution you're thinking of is you want to build a borehole at school, right? Think about this. Is it attainable? Is it realistic? Can a learner or can the school actually build the borehole? Because if that is the proposed solution to the problem, then the learner will have to implement that solution, or at least put together information on boreholes and the feasibility of actually having a borehole at the school, right? So at times, it might not be a realistic project. This is where the teacher needs to come in and see, is the solution realistic? Can this learner achieve this solution? Okay, so that is why it's also good to to list possible solutions to the problem before you select one. Okay, so this is something that, as a teacher, you can work through with your learners. So I'm just going to look at the pollution problem, number 3. Pollution, now there's different types of pollution. If you go under types, you've got air pollution, land, soil, a whole host of things. So I'm looking at littering, right? Specifically littering. Then I could ask littering, where about? Are we talking about littering at school, littering in the ocean, littering in the community? Is it littering at rivers or dams? Do you see how this brainstorming and the solution, I'm hoping you see that the solution would be different. Because if it's littering at school that I'm focusing on, then my solutions will not be the same as a solution, for example, of littering in the ocean. Right. Whilst you are brainstorming your solutions, I just want to bring your attention to this document, the Learner Ethics Checklist. Okay, this also you can download from our website, and there's a whole list. There's 2 pages of do's and don'ts. This is actually the don'ts. So if there's a cross at any one of them, there's this one here, and any human or animal testing, right? Not allowed. So if there's a cross on any one of the in this document, then the learner needs to amend the solution or send it to your provincial coordinator for checking, or your regional coordinator. And failing which, if you're still not satisfied, then you can send it to Ethics at Expo Science. So this is where the review panel will sit and look at your project. But first, if there's an X in any one of your solutions going through this, send it first to your local regional committee, right? Get them to have a look at it before you send it to ethics. Okay. Nico, are we all okay so far? Am I going too fast? Are we good?
I think, yeah, we're good here. I'm just answering some questions in the chat while you're busy.
Okay. Okay, maybe before I finish, maybe I must project this learner ethics checklist to just show you all of it. Right. So we've got our problem of litter, right, that I want to focus on. And I'm thinking of litter at school, right? So now we've got an option of how do we address the problem. There's 4 types of projects that learners can do for whichever problem it is, right? The solution, this is basically the method we're talking about, the method of implementing the solution. The first one is scientific investigation, where you're focusing on testing a hypothesis. You're going to conduct experiments. You're going to use equipment. This is basic conducting of experiments to test hypothesis, right? Then we have the engineering type of project, which follows the design or technological process. With this one, this type of project, the focus is on building something, on construction, as you know, as learners do for technology. Then the social science type of project, where the focus is on analyzing human behavior. We are still testing a hypothesis, but we're not conducting experiments as such. We are going to be collecting our results and our data from people, right? And then the last type is the mathematics or theoretical type of project, which involves conjectures, also hypothesis testing, deductions, testing ideas theoretically. So if you can't actually scientifically test your project, right, then you could do a theoretical project. So going back to our problem of litter, right? If I wanted to do a scientific investigation, for example, I'm looking at litter at school, and I'm thinking of an experiment. I don't know if anybody wants to give us an example or of how we could do this, do a scientific investigation. Anyone? Nobody. Should I just go ahead? I feel like I'm doing.
Can you please repeat? Can you please repeat?
Okay. I've said the problem of litter at school, right? That's the problem that we're trying to work through, and we want to be in the process of preparing the research plan, right? So we're trying to find the solution, what it is that we want to do with this project about litter. If I were to do a scientific investigation, where I'm going to test a hypothesis, I'm going to conduct an experiment, what kind of experiment could I do? Any ideas? The problem is litter. What do we want to find out about litter? Maybe we want to find out why are children littering, or what type of litter. You see, we go back to the brainstorming. This is why that brainstorming activity is so important. Once we've answered some of those questions, it will help us with this. So if I wanted to find out what kind of litter, what are children littering? What type of litter, right? Or when they are littering, maybe, for that matter. Maybe I want to find out at which part of the day is most litter being thrown onto the floor. Then I could use a scientific investigation here, because I could look at collecting litter at different parts of the day, right? And just keep a record of how much of litter I collected at each time of the day, or could be for that week, right? Or maybe you'd find that on a Friday, because the tuck shop is open, or there's a longer lunch break on a Friday, that there's more litter. So that kind of a project is a scientific investigation. Okay, Do you get that one? Does it make sense?
Nalini, I just see two things in the chat while you were busy talking. The one is from, is it Sonia, saying,
Okay.
test how different types of litter affect the ocean.
Oh, yes. Okay, but let's go back. Let's go back to my problem, right? Who is that from? I like that one though.
Sonia, I can't pronounce it. Sonia.
Sonia.
Yeah, Sonia.
Okay, but remember, for me, the problem of litter was at school. So in her case, in the case of this participant, if she's looking at the problem of litter in the ocean, then that would work. That kind of an experiment, looking specifically at the ocean, would work for that. So this brings me to the point of the problem and the solution being very specific, right? So does it help, Nico?
Yes,
So in
definitely.
my case, I'm looking at litter at the school. So everything about my project is going to be focused on littering at school, not in the community, not in the taxi. I mean, you know, litter is everywhere, things like that. So this is where, when I spoke about the problem being specific and the solution being specific, this is what I was talking about, right? Okay, so I think you got that one, where we're conducting the scientific investigation. Then the engineering type of project. If my solution to this litter problem at school, I wanted to solve the problem. I want to not find out why, but perhaps I want to stop the learners from littering, right? That's the solution now, to stop the learners from littering. So I could look at maybe a bin, look at redesigning the bin and make it fun for learners to put the dirt in the bin. Maybe look at a pedal bin, because lots of the bins we have at school are, you know, the learners have to pick it up. So maybe that is the problem, that learners don't want to touch the bin. That's why they just throw the dirt, or maybe there's not enough of bins. So you could look at redesigning the bin, or maybe add a little musical note or something. You know, when a learner throws something into the bin, throws litter, it must play a little fancy tune, or maybe a nice hip hop tune, right? So that kind of a solution will suit an engineering type of project. Okay. Are you understanding that one? That's the difference with the scientific and the engineering, right? And then the social science. So if I wanted to find out now, the focus, my aim is to find out why learners are littering, right? My focus is on finding out why learners are littering, and not what type of litter, or not how to prevent littering, but why. Then I could do a social science project, where now I am going to be maybe handing out questionnaires to the learners at school to ask them questions about why are they littering, right? I hope you're getting a sense of, you know, the same problem and how it can be done using the the 4 different types of projects. Okay, does it make sense, Nico?
Yeah, it makes sense to me. I hope everyone else understands.
Okay. And with social science projects, we can have qualitative and quantitative type of studies. We'll do that more when we're talking about social sciences. Okay, so that was the 4 types of projects. This is, for me, this is crucial. Understanding the best type of project for your solution. This is crucial. And then we have the 13 categories, which is more for the judging. Then you can decide in which category are you going to put your project. So if I was looking at the engineering solution, where I'm going to make a musical bin, right? So then my project would fall under the engineering category, and perhaps the electronics and electrical systems, right? If my project was focused on why learners are littering. Then I would put the project under social science, maybe human behavior, right? Or the first one was a scientific investigation. I could look at the environmental, how the interaction, this environmental management, people and environment, okay? So this is how the types of projects are linked to the categories, okay? You can download our list of categories and an explanation of all the subcategories from our website. Okay, just to tell you that any type of project can be done in any of these 4 categories. So you can even do a social science type of project in agricultural science. That's basically what this slide is about. Any of these 4 types of projects can be done in any of our 13 categories. Now, this is one of the reasons why I was stressing on the type of project. It's important to know what type of project, because you've got to use the same template, start to finish, from research plan, report, and so on. And then the judges will use that specific type of judging sheet for that project. So if you're doing a scientific investigation, we have a specific judging sheet for those types of projects. So that is why I was stressing that the type of project is important. Okay, I'm hoping everybody is still with me and we're still on our problem of litter. Let's go into writing the research plan. Okay. So it's a plan. The research plan is a plan, as we've said already. It's written in the future tense. Please write in the 3rd person, so there's no pronouns like I and my and we and things like that. Write in the 3rd person. Start off wanting to use certain resources in your experiment. And then you find as you start the experiment or you start the engineering project that you can't get the resources. Then you might have to change certain aspects of the project, right? So these changes must be recorded in the report. Of course, you would record it in your journal, and then you will report on these changes in your report, right? So the research plan is the plan. I'm just using the scientific investigation here, right? So we'll just focus a little on the literature review part, which is a very important part of the research plan, because this is where you're going to give as much information to the judge. And when you're writing up this section of the introduction and the section on the literature review, let me just see. No, let me just go back here. The section on the literature review, write it under the assumption that the judge knows nothing about your project. So in this case, litter, mention your background reading, right? Define concepts. You would actually have to give a definition of what litter is, the litter that you are talking about, the types of litter and things like that, right? So spend a lot of time on this literature review. You do this in the research plan, and it's the same information that you're going to use in your report, okay? But also by the time you come to your report, you might find you have more information to add on, okay? Just to show you the headings, I just chose the one, right? And there's the headings there: method, ethics, safety. So ethics, this is where you're looking at the learner ethics checklist. You're comparing and you're reporting on the learner ethics checklist here. Of course, your safety. Are there any safety issues about your project? Are you working with any dangerous chemicals or dangerous machinery? If you are, how are you going to minimize, how are you going to, what safety precautions are you going to take into account, right? So all of this, it goes into the planning. And then here under time frames, what's a very good idea is to draw a table. plot what to do and the dates by when you want to do it. This will help you and guide your work, so that you finish your work in time. And you must leave enough time to writing out and typing out your project report. For the research plan, you need a minimum of 3 references. Okay, we use Harvard referencing method. You'll find on our website, you will find a template on how to actually do the referencing. So all the information is there, all right? Teachers, you will have to sign the research plan. Make suggestions for the learner, make your comments, and please make note when you're writing the date of the research plan. It's the plan, which means you've got to check this before the learner starts the project. In the past, we found teachers signing the research plan in July or August. Now, that clearly we know that the learner sat overnight and did a research plan. Because if the expo is in August, the research plan cannot be done in August. Okay, so just be mindful of that. Judges, we tend to catch things like this out. Okay, so I just want to do a quick comparison of the templates, right? Of the 4 templates: scientific, engineering, the social science, and the mathematics. You'll find all of them have an introduction. There's a problem or a need. Specifically for engineering projects, Nico will be doing engineering projects tomorrow, and he'll talk to you about when we are writing a need for an engineering project. So all of these 4 types of projects have an aim, they have a research question, they have the hypothesis only in the scientific investigation, social science, and the math project. Right? And in the engineering type of project, we don't have the hypothesis, we have the engineering goal, right? Conjecture we have in the mathematics project. Algorithms in the mathematics project. And you can also have it in the computer science project, right? Variables. You've got variables in all types of projects with the exception of the engineering. Because instead of variables, we have design criteria, your constraints and your specifications. Okay, concepts are defined in all types of projects, method, materials in all types of projects. Prelim designs, you'll find you only need them for the engineering, a design of what your prototype is going to look like, right? All projects will have ethics, timeframes, references, and the rest. Okay, just a quick comparison. All right, let's look at now the introduction and the literature review. So in your introduction, just a basic short 4 or 5 lines about the topic in general. Keep it very general. So in my case, it's about littering and why we shouldn't litter. Very, very general, right, for the introduction. Then under the literature review, these are the aspects. Remember, these are the questions. All of these mention your background reading. So you need to have extensive reading. What research has already been done? So you need to review what are other people saying. So you want to find out why children are littering. You will have to go and do some research. How will your research be different? This is very important. And this is why you need to do literature study or do some background reading. How is your research going to be different? Because we want new information. We don't want learners just reproducing what is already out there, right? And this is very important when it comes to the judging, because this is what judges look for. This makes a difference between a gold project and a silver medal, a silver winning project, right? How different is your project? Of course, you have to define the concepts that you will be using. And what are the benefits? This is also very important. What are the benefits or significance of doing this research? Who will benefit from this? So in my case, because I'm focusing on the litter problem at school, here it's schools in general will benefit from my research. Once we know, for example, if I'm doing the social science, why children are littering, Other schools can also benefit. Maybe other schools with the same problem, right? Okay, before we get there, I just want to, let me see if I can get to Google to do a little literature study, just to see if we can. I'm going to just I'm just going to share my screen. Oh, how do I end? Do I have to, Nico, do I have to end the presentation? How do I get to, I want to get to, let me just end there. Okay, I want to get to, okay, for the literature review, right, on litter. I want to find out, why do children litter? So I just put that there. Why do children litter? Just put whatever it is that, whatever your project is that you want to find out, and see what comes up. Why do kids litter? What are the 3 reasons people litter? All right. So just go there, and there's some, this is information now you already have firsthand about why people are littering, right? That the laws are too lenient, laziness, okay. And of course, don't forget, you need, if you use any of these sites, make sure you cite them. I'm just trying to find causes, problems to stop littering, right? So whatever the site is, okay, make sure you collect the reference for this. I just want to take you through take you to, I should say, another site, right, where you're going to find research done by other people. It's called Google Scholar, right? So initially we were just in Google, now we into Google Scholar, and now we want to find out why do children litter? Okay. And I want articles. This is articles. This is research done by other people since 2022. Let's go to since 2022, right? And there we go. There's articles here. There's one here. So I think, if I remember correctly, I think you can cite the article, you can get the referencing here, but let me not get into that. Let me not get into that though. We'll probably have to do another session on how to do. So let's just click on one. Let's just go into one site. Reasons for littering. Okay. And you can get information here. Of course, this involves you reading through this, look at what this study talks about, and this is how you will collect your, and there's an example of an abstract. This is something similar to what the learners have to write about on their project, right? And you can see here, this article, I'm just reading, it looks like it's referring to low income groups. And I actually, let me not say anymore, but this is how you can get to peer-reviewed articles, where to answer this question here, let's go back to the presentation. All right. Where were we? What other studies have been done? That's where we're trying to complete that section. Okay, the background. Okay, I hope everybody's with me so far. I haven't lost anyone. I know it's a lot of info that I'm giving to you. So once you're done with the research plan, the literature review, then you will get a greater understanding of the problem, the issue, the littering at school, whatever the case is, or whether there's littering in the ocean, right? Your research question, it's a question that doesn't have like a yes or no answer, but it's a question. It's basically your aim, written as a question. Your aim is you want to find out, why do children litter at school? So your research question could be, number one, could be, what are some of the reasons that children litter at school? That could be a research question. And you can have 2, 3 research questions. Okay. Hypothesis and variables is just for your scientific investigations and social science, engineering goal and design criteria for your engineering type of project. Okay, materials and method. This is very important, whichever type of project, the what, the where, the how. How are you going to conduct this research? What methods are you using? What data are you going to collect? How are you going to collect the data? Very, very important, the what and the how, right? Where will the research be conducted? This is why I was saying if it's at school, it means you're going to conduct the research at school. If it's you're looking at the river, in the community, or the ocean, then your research will be different. And what data you collect will also be different. So if it's an engineering project, under method, make sure you have a label diagram. If it's a social science project, draft out your questions under the section of method. The teacher must have a look at the questions, right? We have some training videos on YouTube on this specific section. In fact, even the section on how to write a research plan. There's YouTube videos on every aspect of the project work. So please do go and check out these videos. There's only so much that we can do in this 1 hour slot. Okay, now we're looking at the data collection, data analysis, sorry. In your research plan, because you haven't started the project, you're going to tell the teacher, the learner is going to tell the teacher how they're going to collect the results, what results they're going to collect, what instruments they're going to use. Are they going to use questionnaires? What measurements are they going to collect? Whatever results they're going to collect, right? That needs to be indicated under the section. And how will you analyze the data? So Nico will cover a lot of this tomorrow when he's looking at the engineering type of project, because this is where the data, this is where the design criteria comes in, right? I just drew an example of a table. What I also like to see when I'm looking at research plans, I like to see a table of results. So whatever type of project you're doing, draw this table down under your data analysis. I just put an example of totally unrelated to our litter problem. I should have actually used litter here. I just took, like, for example, plants with fertilizer and plants without fertilizer, if I was just comparing those two. This is an example of the data that I am going to collect. There's my unit of measurement, centimeters, or it could have been millimeters if that is what I was going to measure. And you could indicate how often are you going to collect these results? Are you going to measure daily? Are you going to measure weekly, right? All of these things. That's the kind of information that goes under data analysis. Sorry about this example being unrelated to our litter problem. I didn't think about it at the time. We could have related it. Okay, what's left? This one is the plagiarism declaration, because if you look at the learner ethics checklist, you'll see that plagiarism is taken very, very seriously. Learners are not allowed to copy and paste chunks of information. So even when they're doing the literature review, they've got to use in-text referencing. Wherever they've collected the information, they've got to put the reference down. And this is the declaration that each learner signs to indicate they have not copied, right? So this is one of the documents that the learners will need to have on the day of the expo on their table. You can download this from our website, right? So as a teacher, what are you doing? As a teacher, you are the mentor, right? Is a project doable? Is it doable? Is it realistic? Is it attainable? The solutions that the learner is proposing. If not, you'll have to offer solutions to help the learner to refocus. Does the learner have the means to do the project? Look at the cost. If the learner is building something or needs equipment, is the cost exorbitant? If so, how could you raise the money? Maybe this is a brilliant project. How could you raise the funding? And this is where the science clubs, play a major role, because a science club, although they're also doing expo activities in the science club, The science club can do fundraising to help learners that need, assistance with funding for their projects, right? And of course, the teacher here is the one that will guide the process of fundraising. The teacher also, please do check the learner ethics checklist. I think this year, Nico, I think we did say the teacher needs to sign the ethics checklist. Am I right?
That's
Nico?
correct. Yes, Nalini. That is so that we have confirmation that an adult has seen the research
The
plan
project.
and considered the ethics. Correct. Yes.
Okay. Okay, great. Maybe you can show up the learner ethics checklist before we finish off, right? And then check and recheck the research plan. You know, if this plan is done well, the learner will not struggle with their research. It will just be a matter of the learner now going through the process and actually doing the project. Okay. I'm hoping this is what you've learned today, but if not, please do let me know. The research plan, it's a plan. It must be written in the third person. It's written in the future tense. So if it was my project about the litter, I wouldn't say that the aim, I want to investigate why learners are littering at school, right? That's written in the first person. So if I had to rewrite that in the third person, I would say this investigation is aimed at investigating why learners are littering at school. Okay, that's how one would write that as a third person. The three contributors to a good research plan, of course, it's the learner, the mentor, could be the teacher, could be someone from the university, could be even be a parent who's working with the learner. And of course, the Expo resource material, the guidebook, the learner ethics checklist, the research plan, the referencing guidelines. Those are the resource materials that we are talking about. Also, what else did we learn? Be cautious of plagiarism, right? Please ensure that the learner puts the information from the internet or wherever into their own words. Make sure that a journal is kept and then continue to record all information in the journal till the project is completed. Okay, what else? You can find all our Expo resources, information about workshops. Like I said, on the YouTube channel, there's a lot of videos. You can email or WhatsApp. Oh, sorry, this is my contact number. If you're in KZN, then you can WhatsApp me. But Nico, you can get hold of him if you're in Free State and you need any information. If you need the templates, you can't access it yourself. Anything you need, you can email us or WhatsApp us, no problem. Thank you, Nico. That's it, I think, from me. I know I spoke a lot. So I'm hoping there are some burning questions that we can take a few minutes, maybe about 5 minutes, because I see the time is 3 o'clock. If there's any questions.
Thank you so much, Nalini. Thanks so much. Yeah, I was going to suggest put your details on the screen again. Are there any questions from the floor, guys? The floor is open for you to ask your questions.
Anything in the chat?
Nalini, perhaps let me ask you a question. The most common one I usually find, especially related to the research plan, is there a limit to how long it should be?
How long the research plan should be?
Yes.
I would think the research plan should be between 2 and 4 pages.
All right.
Right? That sounds like it's long, but like I said, if the research plan, it's done properly, literature review, that section on background information is done properly in the research plan, the same information is used again in the report. And the learner would just need to do a little bit more research when they collect the results to link why they've collected their results. Now, again, they've got to look for answers going back to research. So that's when there will be a little bit more in terms of the literature review, when they're doing the actual discussion of the data. So I would say 2 to 4 pages, even more if you want to do a really good job with the research plan.
Thanks so much for that. Any
I
questions?
like this one here, Nicole. There is one here. Which parts of the school is being littered? I like that one. So that there was a suggestion here.
Yes,
See,
I
this
recall.
one, which parts of the school? So that in itself will be a completely different project if we're looking at which part of the school. You see?
Yeah.
That is a hypothesis.
Yeah,
Yes.
the research question changed completely, so it should be
Yes.
a different project. Yes.
A totally different project. So far, we've got now, this is like the 5, I think the 5th or the 6th idea to do with litter. Okay. I'm not sure if there's anything else there. I don't see anything else on the chat. It's either people learned everything about how to do a research plan and we've done a brilliant job, or everybody's just shy. I think it's the latter. Everyone's shy. But please do ask questions. We don't want you to go back and now, if there's anything that is not clear in your mind, please ask now. Maybe somebody else also has the same question and they're just shy to ask.
Yeah, let me just answer one of my learners there, Callista. I shared the YouTube channel, so by tomorrow afternoon, this recording would have been loaded onto our YouTube channel. So then you can re-watch the recording.
Okay, let me ask the participants this. I know it's actually a 1-hour time slot to discuss the research plan, categories and types of project is really not enough, right? Is there any particular aspect that you think we need to focus on? Because we've still got the next 3 days. Is there any particular aspect that you think we need to just touch on before we go on to, for example, the engineering project at tomorrow's session? Would you like us to cover a little bit more on any one aspect? Anyone?
If you are shy to speak up, please use the chats.
Okay, doesn't seem to be any responses. Okay, anyways, like I said, Nico, and like I said to all the participants, we are available to answer your questions offline if you're feeling a bit intimidated to unmute. That's fine. So from my side, thank you, everyone. I see something did come up now. Nico, do you want to read us the question?
The one question is, does the learner write the introduction and literature review in different paragraphs or in one paragraph?
You want to take that one or should I?
Please go ahead.
Okay, ideally, they should be paragraphs. The learner should organize their thinking into paragraphs. And remember, when the learner is writing, and when you as the mentor, you are guiding your learners, the learner is writing the written work for the judge to read. You're writing for someone else to read. So you have to just ensure that the way you write, it's easy for the second or third person that's going to read the project. And for me, if I'm a judge, I would not like to see everything, a whole page of just literature review without paragraphs. So just as, in English, we teach learners how to do paragraph writing, that same skill they need to use when they're writing up their literature review. even throughout their project. Those skills that they learn in English and how to write compositions and so on, it's important that they use it now, you know, when they're doing this writing. The only difference is they're using scientific language. What is the next one?
The next one, which grades are supposed to be doing the project? So that one I can answer for you. At regionals, grade 4 to 12. And it's only in the Free State that we do have a special expo for grade 1, 2, and 3s as well. So in short, grade 4 to grade 12. But at our international level, it would be grade 6 to 12, because you need a certain level of maturity to participate at that level of the competition.
Yep. Okay. So perhaps tomorrow, before we start, we could just run through a research plan that has been done for maybe the engineering type of project. So for each day, we could just quickly do that.
So part of my presentation tomorrow is actually to have a problem, try and emulate how the learner got to that specific problem, and emulate how they followed all the way to complete their research plan, and then what consequently should happen after that. So I'll be using one of our projects from Johannesburg, coincidentally, just to demonstrate how does an engineering project work. And then if time allows, I'll briefly also go through the computer science one, because that is slightly different from the engineering. Although they are done on the same template, there are some small subtle differences between the write-ups of those two projects.
Okay.
So if you have a learner, or if you as a learner are doing an engineering or computer science type of project, please join me tomorrow, and hopefully we'll shed a bit of light where there's load shedding in terms of project work.
Yes. Thank you. Thank you, Nicole.
Hello.
Yes, please go ahead.
Hello.
Please go ahead.
Yes. What are the dates for the online submissions of the project?
Those vary from province to province. Nalini, do you want to perhaps answer that? I assume you are from KZN Mekmalo.
Yeah, I'm from KZN.
Yes, please go ahead, Nalini.
Okay. So you can WhatsApp me, but I think in all provinces, I think it's a week before. I could be wrong. This is my WhatsApp number here. It's a week. I know KZN, for all our regional expos, we've got 7 regional expos in KZN, and the online submission is a week before. So learners submit their research plan, the report, and the abstract a week before on the site where they registered. So registration is also via our website. Okay. They need to just click get involved and select whether it's a learner or teacher. Okay. So we've got a video also on this. So if you need guidance on that, just send me a message.
Okay. Another question.
Mm-hmm.
Someone asked me the link for registering the learners and their projects, but we have only had a video for registering the school.
Okay, let me just quickly go back to our website. Let me just see. I need to end this.
Nalini, in the chat, I'm also putting the shortcut.
The shortcut. Oh, yes.
Yeah.
Okay,
but,
great.
Please go ahead, share that. Please share what you wanted to share as well.
Yeah, no, I just want to show you. Hopefully we can go back. Okay, when you come to our website, this is where you're going to, I'm actually trying to get back out of Google Scholar. Right, you here. Eskom Expo for Young Scientists, right? So there, you're going to go to get involved, You have to come to our website in order to register, right? And start by finding the region, or hopefully, remember you need to know the region, go to register. And if it's a learner, the learner will click here. If it's the teacher will click here, right? So learners will register here. They need to have an email address and they just need to fill in all this information. Click next step and it'll take you to the next page. Now, I mean, right now it won't go to the next page because we haven't filled in any info. Don't worry about the photo and so on. They can always go back, and add the photo. Just also remember, when they have registered, there is a password that will be generated automatically. Take a screenshot or a picture, a photo of the password, and then go back into the same profile. So once the learner has registered, they just go to log in. I just want to see if we can log in here. Might not be able to because we haven't registered. Where is the login? So once you have registered here, view or that's download, this is login, right? So after you've registered, you go in here, log in, and you will put in the email address that you used when you registered. You put in the password. So if you've got the system, the password that the system gave you, you put that in, you log in. I'm not going to be able to log in because it's the wrong password. It's the wrong email. Okay, I'm not going to be able to log in now. What? You can change the password. See, in my case, I'm putting the wrong password. So save this information somewhere, right? Once they register, they log in. And this is where, when they log in, this is where they will submit their projects. They don't re-register again. Okay, does it help? Does it help?
Yes, yes, yeah. Thank you so much.
Okay, great. Okay.
Okay, I have another last question.
Okay.
Yeah, when are the dates? What are the dates for the training of the judges?
Okay, I can WhatsApp that to you because it's region specific. It depends on which region you are in.
Okay.
So for example, in KZN, if you're in far north, the date for the training is different. If you're in North Coast, it's a different date. And the
Okay.
national office might be doing online training, but we will let you know about that. We might also run online sessions like this. Just send me a WhatsApp, and then I can give you the dates. And then Nico has shared the direct access.
Okay. I thank you so
Nico,
much.
No problem. I see there's a comment. So we have to submit our work online before the Expo event. The answer is yes. The reason for that is it's going to help us with planning. Nico, you can come in here.
Yes, you are correct, Nalini. So you have to submit your documentation on the website where you registered so that we have access to it in advance. That is to make sure we get the right number of judges for the projects. And then remember, it is still a face-to-face competition. So yes, you have to upload ahead of time, but you need to come with the documentation also on the day of the expo. It's just for logistical purposes, yes.
Yes, and also to just add on to that, remember the regional level is the level before that at which we select projects for our national and international science fair, which is held in Johannesburg in October. So it also gives us an opportunity to start looking at the projects and start identifying projects that have the potential to be selected. So that on the day of the expo itself, we might have already identified some projects. Okay, this is a project that our selection committee needs to, have a second look at and things like that.
Perhaps let me also that don't wait until the closing date to upload all your documents. So your research plan should be finished soon. When you find with that, start uploading it. You don't
Yes.
need to upload everything at once. So as the documents are finished, upload. So there's three
Yes.
documents that you upload. You upload the research plan, the report file, and then the abstract you don't upload actually. You can actually type it. When you are in
Type it
that
in.
Expo app, you can actually type in your abstract over there.
Yes.
And if at some stage you need to print it, there's an option for you to print it off from the system. So it was designed to keep your information as well. In the event, you know, a laptop disappears, someone steals the laptop, then you've lost the whole project. By doing that, you're keeping it safe on our server, and you can download it at any
Yes.
time if you need access to it.
You know, Nico, last year in our expo, I think it was in our Northern KZN region, the learners were working in pairs, and the one learner couldn't attend because of there was some striking and so on in his community. So just the one learner showed up, and some of the information, because they had submitted their project online, we were actually able to print the whole project for the learner. Otherwise, the poor child would have had nothing, no written work. So, you know, these are some of the things that it helps to have the projects on hand like this. Okay.
Yeah, definitely.
All right. I don't know if there's any more questions, any other information you need, or shall we? I think we can close now, Nico. I don't see any more questions in the chat.
Yeah, so from my side, thank you so much for joining, guys. We've gone well over the 1 hour that was allocated, but we aim to please. And if you have questions, I see Mrs. Kumalo is still unmuted. Do you perhaps have another question before I close the meeting?
No. Thank
All
you.
right, thank you so
Okay.
much. I look forward to seeing everyone tomorrow, and please keep safe, and we'll chat tomorrow.
Thanks,
Thank you
everyone.
so much.
Keep well,
Bye.
stay safe. Bye.
Bye.
Bye-bye. Thank you.